Hello guys, welcome to John Explains. John Explains is a show where I explain stuff very, very fast. And now today we're doing it on educational purposes. So I read an article called Rana Plaza, Structural and Ethical Failures. And what it is it's an article written by two college students. One of them was an engineer and the other one was a business student. And they describe how not only was the building structurally unstable, but the building itself was run by a horrible person. Now that's going to be all fun and games on this episode of John Explains. The article, as I've stated before, is a research paper, so this means it uses a lot of big complex words that honestly no one really understands. They just want to sound smart. They use a lot of visuals in this, on the engineering side of this article, to demonstrate what went wrong on the structural side of the Rana Plaza incident. They do a very good job at writing a research paper. Their professors should be very proud. But us, as the general public, find it as a very dry read. Please make it more interesting. Before this video gets along any further, I'd like to say, why does this pertain to you as the viewer? It pertains to you as the viewer because chances are the clothes that you're wearing were manufactured in Bangladesh. And like a lot of these places in Bangladesh, the manufacturing places are not that great. They're run down, they're not up to structural codes, and the problem with this incident was no one cared. They did this every day, so what made that day any different? The truth is nothing. Nothing made it different, but everything still fell apart, and the manager didn't let his employees leave because there was still work to be done. And that's kind of messed up and wrong, you know? And if you're a manager watching this video, don't do that. Don't keep your employees in while the building is starting to collapse. And if you know that the building is going to collapse beforehand, don't have your employees in there. It's that simple. In the paper, they quote Bergman D. Blair saying, according to the architect of Rana Plaza, Masad Reza, the building was never designed for factories, but for shopping malls and offices. That was Bergman in 2013. In what person's right mind would they be like, let's use this as a factory instead of a shopping mall? That doesn't have the same structural integrity. It's meant for less weight. Manufacturing equipment is very heavy. As someone that studied architecture for 4 years, this is asinine. In the paper, there was a lot of ethological and logical appeal because it was written by engineers and they don't have any hearts. We all know this. So the other author actually was not an engineer, and she added a bit of pathological appeal to this paper, and it was very good, except it was a little biased. She didn't know how to express her emotions properly. She was it seemed emotional while writing the paper. So while that is good in the majority of the papers, I felt that it actually took away from this paper, and that's honestly very rare. It is a very emotional subject, the fact that several people died, but it did take away from the ethological and logical appeal that the engineers were just trying so hard to prove. So maybe to some people that is more appealing, the fact that the author can display a sense of emotion in their paper, but I felt like for something discussing the ethics of structure and the ethics of managing, it kind of had an unwarranted precedent. Let's talk about the managerial side of this ethical conundrum. Now, as a manager, you want to make sure that your station does the best out of any other station in your company. So therefore, you're going to want to push your employees to work as an incentive to make more money. But when does the company's lives matter more than the company's profits? You actually have a tag on your life. It's actually around like $10 million. So in this case, what would have probably been like maybe $2 million, if we're stretching it, he lost probably around $100 million. There was collapse, there were people damages, but because it's Bangladesh, they don't have these rules and regulations on the protection of their people, because to them, the people don't amount to much. They don't make that much net worth in their life. And they have a very heavy condensed population, so they feel if one employee dies, they can just get another. They can put it into another factory, and then the cycle starts all over again. And it's very hard to fix these situations, especially when there is a corrupt and tyrannical government, especially in places like Bangladesh. You can't trust the military, you can't trust the government, you can't trust the police, because they're the people that approved that building. They don't care about your lives, they care about making money on the expense of minimum wage jobs. In conclusion, after reading this article and after me talking about it, I hope that you realize 3 things. Firstly, if you're an engineer, do your job. Make something safe, don't make something cheap and inefficient unless you're making toy cars and you want them to buy more of your stuff. That's a different ethical argument we'll probably get into another time. Secondly, if you are a manager, people before profits. You can't make profits if you don't have any people. And 3, if someone is telling you to do something that's against your morals or just gives you that knot in your stomach that makes you uncomfortable, don't do it. Just say, no, I can't do this, and then that's the end of the discussion. Thank you today for tuning in to John Explains. This has been John. Good night, Seattle.